Welcome to our session. My name is Sarah Lavis, and I lead global sales enablement for the AWS Partner Network. Many of you probably know it as APN. And what I do is I evangelize you guys to all of our sales teams so they understand the value of working with all of you.
Sarah likes to hold the clicker.
I do.
And I'm Kristen Scott. I'm a partner program manager for field optimization, which means that I help to land initiatives and interlock those initiatives with the partner field sales teams at AWS. And before we get started, we want to just remind everybody that the session is being recorded. It's going to be available to you within 48 hours. It can be available via SlideShare as well as YouTube. And also, we would recommend that you look through the session catalog from your desktop versus your mobile app to ensure that you're actually able to download it. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and get started. So in this session, we're going to be focusing on how to utilize APN programs to best maximize your engagements with the AWS sales teams as well as our customers. So the agenda that we're going to follow is to talk through our overall market opportunity. We're then going to go through 2018 at a glance from an AWS perspective as well as our APN community and the growth that we've been experiencing for the last year. We're then going to talk through a few best practices on how to best engage the AWS team. And then we're going to parlay that into Sarah's section, which is going to talk through some of the APN programs that can help for you to build out your differentiated value proposition to your customers and AWS. And then lastly, we're going to have a few call to actions to where hopefully you can immediately take those steps to continue to build out your AWS practice. Okay, so we're first going to talk about why we are here, which is our market opportunity. One of my favorite facts when talking to our partners around what our market opportunity is that the majority of Fortune 500 companies and over 90% of Fortune 100 companies actually use APN partners, offerings, and services today when consuming AWS. AWS, as everybody is aware, is rapidly growing, and we are not slowing down. And so we're really excited to continue our momentum and our journey with our partners, and the opportunity for all of us is great. So how great? So by the end of 2018, Gartner has projected that cloud computing will reach 21% year-over-year growth, and that actually translates to a $186 billion run rate business. By 2021, Gartner is projecting that the total addressable market for cloud computing will be at $302 billion. So this, everybody, is our opportunity. From an AWS perspective, we continue to grow, like I just mentioned. Our Q3 2018 earnings call reported that we experienced 46% year-over-year growth. That translates to a $27 billion run rate business. And we attribute a lot of that growth to the over 1,400 AWS service innovations that were launched in 2017. We have over 125 services today. Actually, that number is going up pretty significantly this week with a lot of our announcements. And we'd really like all of our partners to view each of these service innovations and announcements as individual market opportunities for your organization to iterate, to innovate, to create offerings around this for our customers. And we just continue to grow. And as cliche and cheesy as it sounds, the opportunity really is limitless in terms of what you can do with our services and how you craft that for your customers and your organization. So now we're going to look through what has been happening over the last year with our APN partner community. And I'm sure you guys have heard some of these stats and some of our keynotes, but I just find it fascinating every time I look at it. And the first phrase that comes to mind is partner momentum. So we have tens of thousands of partners in our community today. And since January of 2016, we've actually added 35,000 new partners. That's huge. And then I think probably one of the most interesting notes on this slide for everybody is the fact that we have passed hundreds of thousands of leads to our partners from AWS to our APN community. So the main piece here is that we have a lot of partners that we're working with. We also have a lot of leads that are being passed. If you guys are not taking advantage of this today, one of our goals coming out of this session is to ensure that you are. Okay, so before we get into AWS engagements and best practices, we're going to do a quick exercise because it's late and we want to make sure that we don't put anybody to sleep. But if you can recall your engagements with the AWS Sales Teams to date, and if you haven't had the opportunity to engage with the AWS Sales Teams yet, any vendor relationship that you've been trying to build with your organization will be fine for this exercise. So if you can recall what those activities have been, have you hosted a happy hour with the sales teams? Have you participated in a lunch and learn? Have you met individually with sales reps or sales managers to talk through and build up your relationship? Have you hosted a dinner or sponsored an offsite? And a lot of these activities are very common throughout our industry, and the list goes on. So if you can think about those activities and then now start thinking through, have you been able to tie customer revenue to those activities? Do you have tangible assets that you're able to leave with the teams? Are you able to actually see the true return on that time and that investment? And oftentimes the answer is maybe, sometimes, or no. And the truth is that we really can't guarantee that any of those engagements that I just mentioned can be fruitful for our partners. So one of our goals today is to talk through how to best utilize the programs that we have in place for you to really make sure that your efforts are being seen and also being remembered and being utilized and exposed to our customers. So when talking with a lot of our very successful partners, we've been able to identify 4 best practices on how to best engage the AWS sales teams. And what I will say is that none of these are going to be groundbreaking for anybody. However, with the breadth and depth of our services, with the complexity and the speed of our business, oftentimes I think it's really important to remember that going back to basics is important, and making sure that you are exercising these best practices and you're following through on those engagements really make the difference. Especially, as we mentioned before, with tens of thousands of partners, it is really tough for customers to keep up with who's who. It is very tough for AWS sales teams to understand who they talk to, who to engage. And so if you can keep that in mind as we're going through these, and hopefully these can be helpful. So the first best practice is to leverage AWS resources for practice development. We have so many resources for our partners, a tremendous amount. Primarily, the majority of them are on our APN Partner Central. What I will say is that a lot of feedback in the field is that sometimes we have too much and it's overwhelming. You can log on to the Partner Central and you have no idea where to start. We have everything from subject matter experts, partner dedicated teams that are here to support you, in-depth white papers, instructor-led trainings, video on demands, and the list just goes on and on and on. The point here is to make sure that you're really getting the most out of these resources that we have. And if you haven't had a chance to really look through the Partner Central, it is not a stagnant tool for our partners. It's actually something that we're constantly updating. We're continuously making sure that we are updating best practices and methodologies for customer engagement. And there's some truly rich data there and resources to help you build out your AWS practice. And so if you don't know where to start, or where to look, or you have an idea of what you need for your company, go to your partner team and tell them specifically what you need. And more than likely, the odds are is that we've got a lot for you, and it's in some dark corner of the APN Central, and they'll point you to it. So the next best practice is to identify and develop your superpowers. So this is something that I think is easier said than done. If you think about yourself as a consumer of any service, the easiest engagement and interaction that you have is one in which you're very clear on what you're getting based off of your needs. And this is no different for our partners. A lot of times when our partners are meeting with our sales teams and our partner sales teams, some of our partners can come in and they will say, we cover everything. And they may. But it makes it very difficult for our teams to really hone in and identify which partners they need to position with their customers for specific solutions. And so what we would recommend is that you focus on a handful of areas where you really excel, where you are expertise, where your customers are focused in, and you really make sure that you're branding yourself with our sales teams in that way. An example would be if you focus on DevOps, for you to really ensure that you are helping to brand yourself internally, that the teams know that if they have a DevOps opportunity with a certain size customer, that they're going to go to your organization to engage. And that will be not only the best way to really differentiate yourself with customers in terms of what they need, but also to help resonate and help to cement in our sales team's memory who you are and when to best engage you. Our third best practice is AWS Sales and Customer-Facing Content. And this one is probably the least groundbreaking best practice of them. However, you'd be surprised with the speed of our business. Sometimes we just don't have time to do this, and it's really important to take the time to do it. We strongly recommend when you're meeting with the AWS sales teams, if you don't have a battle card, make a battle card. It doesn't need to be elaborate, but just something that is an easy, tangible takeaway that the sales teams will be able to leverage, and it's simple for them to understand who you are, how to engage you, how do you interact with our customers, what problems do you solve, and how do you support our customers. And this really does go a long way throughout our organization in terms of how to navigate our partner community. And if you think, our sales teams, they've got a lot to juggle. They are working with our customers, managing their knowledge and making sure they're staying up to date on all of our services and offerings. And then on top of that, to ensure that they're staying up to date with our APN partner community, which is thousands upon thousands of partners. And so having something as simple as a battle card or a walking PowerPoint deck when you're meeting with the teams, a consistent message and a very clear understanding for them to know who you are and how to work with you is very important. The other piece we would say is that kind of going on your superpowers, if you have a specific area of focus, customer collateral, something that are offering a solution development, even a PDF of who you guys are or an external version of that battle card, it is so helpful with our customers and with our AWS sales teams. It gives them something to expose to our customers. And then lastly, customer case studies or anything that can really help to take the customer down the path of not only who you are, but kind of what you do and how you operate. So the last best practice is one of our leadership principles. And while we do value all of them, bias for action and insist on the highest standards are two important ones as well with our partner community. Earn trust is huge. What we would recommend is that over-communication with our sales teams is key. You want to make sure that you're staying transparent. There's a few ways that you can do this. You can maintain your APN scorecard. Make sure that you're notifying our organization of the customers that you're engaging so we're aware of what is happening and who you're working with and how we can help you. Track and highlight AWS business results. This is the one area where I've seen some of the most success with our partners, is not only saying, hey, I've got an opportunity, or hey, I'm working with this customer, but also to talk through When a workload is launched, what does that post-engagement look like? Are you uncovering net new opportunities or new projects after you've been working with those customers? And so really following through and following up with the sales teams for them to continue to understand how you operate and what you do and to truly see the value firsthand of how great your organization is. The last piece here, and you can see utilizing AWS opportunities through registration, and I don't want to steal Sarah's spotlight, but she is going to go into depth on these last 3 bullet points of customer satisfactions as well as public references. All of these assets are huge in terms of building out your brand, differentiating your organization, and really helping you to connect more with the sales teams and our customers. So the last piece on earned trust is, I would say, is transparency. In the field, one of the characteristics that I see the most with our partners is that our partners love to say yes to AWS, and they hate to say no to AWS. And what I will say is that we have to be really careful with that. If you don't work in a specific industry, or if you prefer to work in a specific market segment or with a specific customer size, let us know. The more prescriptive, the more guidance that our teams can receive in terms of specifically what you do, what your priorities are, the better off we all are, and the better we will be able to position you with the right customers versus throwing everything your way or vice versa and it not being a good result for our customers. And so what I would encourage all of our partners to do is to continue to be as transparent as possible. And don't be afraid or fearful of saying no to the sales teams. It will be appreciated, and it helps them to better understand how to work with you. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Sarah, and she's going to actually talk through how to actually execute some of those best practices.
Thanks, Kristen. So Kristen shared with you guys the best practices to be successful with highlighting and differentiating your business with not only our sales teams, but also our customers. What my job today is to show you some APN programs and resources and tools that are available to you to be able to kickstart and make sure that you're following these best practices. So the first program that I want to talk about is the APN Customer Engagements program. Some of you may have heard it called as the ACE program. We all know here at AWS, we love our acronyms. So that's what it stands for whenever you see ACE program. This program launched earlier this summer, but many of you may have already and are already participating in this program and not even know it. So the ACE program has 3 tracks, okay? 1 is opportunity management. That may clue some things in some people's brains in the room right now. Number 2 is lead referrals, and number 3 is opportunity referrals. What we're going to focus on today is mainly opportunity management. That's what's going to help you jumpstart and get going with those best practices that Kristen said before. And what you see on the screen here, opportunity management is going to give you these benefits and help you have really successful customer outcomes. So you're thinking, okay, Sarah, you're saying opportunity management. What does this really mean? So many of you in the room, I'm guessing, have already started using our opportunity management tool or were using it in the past whenever you started your journey down the APN path, okay? The opportunity management tool lives in Partner Central. We've only said it 45 times today. This tool is there for you to submit opportunities that you are working on with your customers, okay? When you do that, it gives us visibility into what you're working on and allows us to provide these benefits to you, okay? So when you submit an opportunity, there's actually somebody on the APN team who looks at that opportunity, validates that opportunity, and can match you with technical resources you may need, maybe from our partner SAs, so our partner solution architects. They're also going to be able to evaluate if there's some tools that we have, such as the TCO tool or the Simply Monthly Calculator, that you may need assistance with. And then why I know we're all here today is you want support from our sales teams. So by submitting these opportunities, we also are able to match you with some sales support. And I'll dive deeper into that as I go along today. So, before I dive too far into the opportunity management tool, there are, again, 3 tracks of ACE, okay? There's opportunity management, again, lead referrals, and opportunity referrals. Opportunity management and the opportunity management tool is available to every APN partner, no matter your tier, no matter your type, and no matter what programs you are part of today, okay? So as I finalize and talk about the ACE program, I'm going to focus really mainly on that piece, but I want you to know by submitting those opportunities what deeper in the ACE program you can have access to, okay? So what you see here is the eligibility for you to receive leads and opportunities from AWS, okay? You'll notice that the first requirement for us to be able to pass you those leads and opportunities is that you have 10 submitted validated opportunities. So that means you go to the tool that I was already talking about, you submit 10 opportunities, and your one requirement towards receiving leads and opportunities from us, okay? Now, the other thing that is super important is that you get your customers to start reviewing you in our CSAT program. I will dive deeper into that in a whole section in this presentation so that you can understand exactly what that means, because it is new, but you are required to have 10 of those in order to start receiving leads and opportunities from us, okay? Now, that means 10 reviews. That doesn't mean a 10 score, okay? It's a 1 to 10 scale. That would be really tough if we required you to have 10 out of 10, okay? The other thing that you're gonna wanna make sure of is that you have an active Partner Solutions Finder listing. Now, if you don't know what the Partner Solutions Finder is, it is a tool that's on our external website where our customers, as well as our sales teams, can go in, type in a use case, type in your name, type in a migration from X to Y, whatever it is, and partners surface, and it gives them ability to connect with the partner right there. If that listing's not up to date, then you're not giving accurate information to the customer and the sales team member, but also when we start passing you leads and opportunities, we don't know what your superpower is, as Kristen said. We're gonna pass you things that maybe you don't want to work on or doesn't match your expertise. Now, if we go down the other side of the screen, you must also have an APN program designation, okay? This could be the AWS Competency Program. This could be the AWS Service Delivery Program. This could be the AWS Solution Provider Program. It's not limited to just our differentiation programs, guys, so make sure you work with your PDM, your Partner Development Manager, or your PDR, your Partner Development Representative, to understand how you could meet that requirement. Then Kristen talked about identifying your superpower. Here's a way that you can easily do that. Go home and do that now. When ACE launched, because a lot of you are probably already using the opportunity management tool, and since we've added the ability to pass leads and opportunities to you guys, you signed some new terms and conditions. And what that did is it allowed us to share customer information with you guys. When we did that, we also released something called the Preferences Survey, okay? It's a simple survey that you go in and you enter in what type of opportunities and customers you actually want to work with, so that when we have leads and opportunities, we know what to pass to who. So go home, go through that survey, and then you may actually be able to identify your superpower right there if that's not something your company has done already. And the last thing is, in order to receive leads and opportunities from us, we ask that you accept those opportunities, okay? We go through and we pass you things and you're declining 90% of them. That's not a good experience for our customers, and not a good experience for your customers. So make sure that we are also, being open to growing your organization and growing your superpowers. Now, before I move any farther into this presentation, note, Opportunity Management Tool is open to all partners. There's no eligibility around that. Start that so that you can get to this point and start receiving leads and opportunities from us, okay? Now, let's talk a little bit about why you'd want to actually do any of this, right? I gave you a little bit of a sneak peek into what we provide when you submit us opportunities, but this will really help it sink in. So the first thing is our opportunity management tool gives you a single place to see all of your AWS business. Your pipeline, where your opportunities are at, all in one place. When you submit an opportunity, and I'm going to give you a little preview into what I mean by sales support, because I know everybody's just itching to know what I mean by that. You are going to get the ability to connect with a sales team member at AWS on every opportunity you submit, no matter your tier, no matter your type, no matter what programs you are part of. Our goal with that is to help you close that opportunity, launch that opportunity, and we want to help accelerate that deal. You have more people on the ground to help you and align with you from AWS. The other thing is when you submit these opportunities and you're aligned with that sales representative from AWS, they start to learn about the type of opportunities and things that you are good at. And then when they get another customer that needs help in that same area, guess what they're going to do? They're probably going to say, hey, I know partner X is really good at that, and I'm going to bring them into another opportunity. They did a great job for my last customer. Also, we hear this from you guys, we hear it from the sales teams. We understand that sometimes the communication between you and the sales team member is not always easy, okay? When you submit opportunities to the opportunity management tool, all that work's done for you. You're required, once you submit the opportunity, to update that opportunity bi-weekly, whether it's just telling us what your next steps are or if it's moved a stage in the sales cycle. Well, our sales teams have that responsibility too. They're supposed to be updating it bi-weekly, and that way you guys have more visibility into what you are doing in that account and what each other needs in order to make sure that opportunity launches. So there's more visibility when you submit these opportunities. And then lastly, when we talked about the partner eligibility, by doing all these things and submitting these opportunities to us, you start being able to be eligible to be an ACE-eligible partner and receive leads and opportunities from us. Now, I know that I've said leads and opportunities about 45 times, and I think at some organizations they're the same thing. Here at AWS, they're not. We consider a lead a brand new, baby, small opportunity, but it's not an opportunity. So what it is, it's something that comes from the Partner Solutions Finder. So it's just a customer that's just interested, right? They're just starting to think about what they want to do with AWS. Or they've been an AWS customer, but they're wanting to go into a new area. Or it's coming from a marketing campaign. So maybe you're doing an IPC campaign with us, or you're working on prospecting days with us, or something along those lines. They're just leads, right? They're just new and fresh. If we pass you an opportunity, it's going to be BANT qualified. It's going to be something that we have already dug deep into. We know that you would be great to help that customer, and we've already kind of started to look at their pain points. We know that you guys will go in and do us a great job of really understanding what their pain points are, but an opportunity is going to be more baked, if that makes sense. Okay? So these are the reasons why you should submit opportunities and become ACE eligible. So, all right, what do I mean by sales support? I've kind of already given it away, but I'm going to spell it out to you as directly as I can. So when you submit an opportunity to the opportunity management tool, once it's validated, so that means that we've gone through, we've looked and made sure that you have all the information that you would want the sales team to know, we're going to look in our database and see what sales rep aligns to the account that you're doing business with. And we're going to send an email that connects you with that sales rep, as well as your PDM or your PDR. So you're getting a direct introduction to an AWS sales rep. That's great, right? Okay, so you get to know this person. Now, it goes way farther than just that single opportunity. Kristen talked a lot about battle cards, collateral, public references. This gives you the opportunity to get to know this person, right? This gives you the opportunity to build a relationship with this sales individual. And who knows? We're going to hear in a second from 3 of our partners who are ACE eligible and who have been utilizing the ACE program. Some of them have been brought into the whole sales team in that region just by talking to that one single sales rep, okay? So that's what we're going to do. If you submit the opportunity, we're going to hold our end of the deal and we're going to introduce you to that AWS sales rep. I know in the past, when you submitted opportunities, if you did that before we updated the tool, that wasn't the case. So please go give it another try if you haven't since last fall. So all of this is going to increase your visibility with the AWS sales teams and our customers. So what I want to do is I want to take the next couple minutes to let you listen to some of our partners that are fellow partners in our partner community to you guys and their experiences they've had by submitting opportunities and becoming ACE eligible.
For anybody who is entertaining joining the APN and the ACE program with AWS, I cannot recommend it highly enough. It has been such a benefit to our company as a whole from a revenue perspective, from an increased inbound leads perspective, across the board. It's just been a wonderful program for us to be a part of.
Prevo joined the APN in February of 2016. We knew that we wanted to go all in with one cloud provider so we can develop a depth of knowledge in a single cloud platform. We joined programs and made time to advance through the tiers to demonstrate to our customers that we were for real. As we progressed, however, it was also to demonstrate our commitment to AWS and development of our consulting practices to align with AWS's vision for consulting partners. Through the ACE program, we learned what the customer was really looking for in a consulting partner and how we're able to offer the most value to them.
As we progress through the various tiers, we find ourselves today in daily contact with AWS sales leaders and representatives working on launching customers together. It's a very tight collaboration.
We decided to invest more in the APN to advance the different levels because we saw the value that it was bringing to us and to our customers.
As a result of submitting our opportunities through the APN, we've been connected with Amazon sellers, with partner sales managers, and the meetings that come as a result of those leads to more deals in the funnel, more opportunities to pursue together.
With the ACE platform, we can manage everything in one place, so we have AWS sales reps and Prevo sales reps working with the same information, so we're in sync, and the customer really feels that. They feel like it's a really smooth handoff, and we're a really integrated team with AWS.
When we're working with an AWS customer, they're really expecting us to have a deep technical knowledge of the platform to be able to find the right solution to their problem. Given the expanse of the capabilities and services that AWS has to offer, it's a big challenge for an organization to completely understand it. Using the ACE program, we're able to reach out to the experts within the organization that can help us on these very specific customer problems.
We've been able to share what we're good at Prevo with lots of AWS sales reps across the country. So when they're talking to customers and they find a customer who is a good fit for what we do well, they make the introduction and it's a win-win for everyone.
Now that we've built relationships with many great AWS people within the ACE program, it's much more collaborative process now. We feel AWS is very invested in the success of our business, and together we're trying to launch as many customers as possible.
Every customer win that we have grows the knowledge base of Eagle Dream within AWS, and then the flywheel just continues to spin as we get more success for the customers and more success for AWS, and therefore more success for Eagle Dream.
By taking part in the ACE program and all of the subsequent benefits that come along with it, it has drastically increased the level of deals, the number of deals that are in our sales pipeline, and as a result, number of deals closed, which ultimately helps us be a profitable organization.
It's hard to really understand how much AWS is invested in the success of their partners. We're this relatively small company compared to AWS, yet the people we interact with every day, they're deeply invested in our success and the success of our shared customers. It's been a really tremendous experience for us.
Okay, so there's some real life data. We all love data, right, here at AWS, and we all know you guys love data. These partners have put in the work to submitting the opportunities, becoming ACE eligible, and it's really paid off for their business. So how do you get started with ACE? I gave you a bunch of information. You've heard it from some of your fellow partners. I'm going to say it again. Go home. You don't have to do it tonight. I know. We've all had a long day. Go home and bookmark the opportunity management tool in Partner Central. Start submitting some of those opportunities and start to see that interaction with the sales teams grow. Make sure if you have questions, you guys, about submitting these opportunities, or what's the best way to do this, what are the sales teams looking for, interact with your partner team. We're here to help. And last, I know some of you have heard from Terry Wise, and if you were in the session yesterday, we are changing some of our APN tier requirements. If you have not heard that and you want more information, make sure you visit our booth in the expo hall at the Venetian. But part of the new requirements is you have to have a certain number of validated opportunities. So if you start doing that now and you start understanding the process, that's only going to help you continue to be successful in your APN journey. So, as I promised, we're going to jump into another program that's going to help you with engaging with the AWS team, okay? When I talked about CSAT reviews and ACE, I promised you I would dive a little bit deeper on how you can meet that requirement and what that will do for your business. So CSAT is the APN Customer Satisfaction Program, and this program launched earlier this year, and really what it is here for is for us to be able to understand your customer success and for you guys to get firsthand what your customers feel and think about your work, okay? It is something that is very simple for your customers to do. All they have to do is go to the Partner Solutions Finder and search for your profile. You can even send them a direct link to your profile in there. And on their profile, there will be a Rate This Partner button right there on the right-hand side of the screen at the top. When they click that, they're just going to simply be asked to rate you from 0 to 10. And then they have the opportunity to fill in why they feel that way, okay? Right now, you do not have access to seeing those reviews. Coming very soon, we're going to release those to everybody so that you can see those reviews. Now, we all know that sometimes data is not always that accurate, and there could be some reviews that, we find that seem a little off, or you may find one that you just are like, oh, that doesn't seem right. You have the ability to dispute these, okay? That it's not the end-all, be-all of rating. If you find one, once we start releasing this data to you, please feel free to email this email alias here, and you will get a real-life person to discuss what you're thinking and why you feel that CSAT review may not be the best representation of your company. Now, you're thinking, okay, so where does this data go, and why are you guys wanting this data? So there's a couple reasons, and I already named one of them, is so that you guys can get a really good idea of how your customers feel about your services. The other thing is we're using this data internally to help our sales teams understand what you're good at, just like we're doing with the opportunity management tool. So this is your way that you're going to get engagement. Is it's just another tool to show off your superpowers and how much great things you're doing for our customers. So I just wanted to really quickly throw up on the screen an example of a really cool review that we have access to the data, so we're starting to see these come in. And I really want you guys to take a second to read this, and then I'll kind of point out what I thought was really cool about it. Okay, so I'm seeing some people put their heads down. I'll leave it up there for a second. But what I thought was really cool is we started the CSAT program this year. What does it say in that first sentence? We've worked with this partner for nearly 6 years. You guys, this customer felt so good about what the partner has done for their business and their AWS practice, they went back after working with them for 6 years and wrote this review. There are some really cool things that you guys can get from this and use at your advantage when you're talking to new customers or other customers to show your expertise. So be on the lookout. You'll start to see this data and push your customers to start making these reviews. Now, we're not going to leave you hanging. We're not going to make you build your own strategy around how to ask your customers. We want to give you some resources. Now, of course, you go out and you build your own strategy of how you want to send the ask of getting these reviews. But we do have a marketing campaign inside of Marketing Central. If you don't know what Marketing Central is, the next section I will dive a little deeper into that. But it's an email template that you can simply just download and customize and put into your CRM, put it wherever you want to put it, and send it to your customer once you're done, you've launched that opportunity and had a successful engagement. So the last, it's not really a program, but it's the last tip I'm going to give you in order to be tactical against those best practices that Kristen mentioned. And this is having a really robust list of public references. Now, I know that a lot of you, when you've been going through your requirements to join competencies or service deliveries, you have a lot of non-public references. Well, on the train of the APN tier changes that were announced yesterday, one of the new updates to the tier requirements is that your references must be public, okay? So I'm gonna give you a little bit of data that we learned this year by talking to our partners that I think will help sink in why we made this change and why I'm gonna talk about public references today. When asking our partners, what are the most important things to customers? When you go into a customer and you have a really, really, really kick-ass meeting with them, and they say, of course I wanna work with you, Partner X. What are the things that you feel made the difference? 94% of the partners we talked to said a public reference helped them close that deal. 94%. That's a lot, guys. It is the currency to our customers as well as to the AWS sales teams. They love having something that is public, referenceable, that they can hand to a customer when they're trying to pitch to bring you into that opportunity, okay? So, what do we define as a public reference? Just in case, it can mean a lot of things in different ways. What we consider a public reference for APN is a partner-led customer success story that is public. If you're new to the APN or you just haven't heard the term partner-led yet, it's something you'll start hearing quite a bit, especially with the new opportunity management tool and ACE and all of that fun stuff. But what it means is that you led that opportunity, whether you brought it to us and submitted it to the opportunity management tool, or you were brought in from AWS to lead that opportunity, okay? These are all, but not, this is a list, but not a complete list of different ways that you can create a public reference. It can be written, it can be a blog, it can be a video, and we'll see an example of a good video testimonial here in a second. But all of these things really help our sales teams and help our customers understand what you're really good at, okay? And that's what's in it for you. We talked about superpowers a lot today. It's another way to showcase your superpowers. It's another way to kind of think about what is my superpower and what customers do I have that support that superpower that I can talk about. Now, I already talked about it a little bit, but again, starting at the beginning of the year, part of the tier changes is that you must have a certain number of public references. So in order to reach your tier advancement or to keep the tier that you have, okay? Again, if you have questions about the tier changes, go to our booth. We have an awesome pamphlet. So let's talk about how APN can help you create these references, okay? The first one is not really a tool to help you create them, but it's just guidance for you on how to reach that that the references tier requirement. Again, what are we going back to, guys? Opportunity management tool. I'm telling you, it's the key to all this stuff. So to reach the tier mark that you're gonna have to reach, the way that it's gonna work is when you submit an opportunity to the opportunity management tool, once it launches and it's closed, you're gonna be able to check a box that says, this is a publicly referenceable opportunity. When you do that, as long as you do that on the right amount of opportunities, you hit your tier advancement. Now, this really isn't collateral. It's not a piece of something or something you can show a customer, but in my opinion, it's the first step to take when you create your public reference, because then you can mark those in the opportunity management tool where you have all of your AWS business, and you can see, where should I start building upon those? Where can I make a public reference? That customer said I could do that. I'm gonna go back to them and I'm gonna create that, okay? And that's where number 2 comes in handy. We have templates for you guys to create your own public references that you can hand to our sales teams, to customers, to show them in Marketing Central. So Marketing Central is a platform that provides marketing collateral for different areas of focus like IoT, DevOps, analytics, as well as different campaigns that we may be running as AWS that you guys want to run in conjunction with us. And it has a lot of different resources. But one of the things that's in there is something called a case study. And a case study is a great template for you to work off of to create a public reference. The other thing to note is that when you create a public reference of this sort, it can count towards your differentiation program eligibility, because you do have to have those as well in order to have a competency or service delivery. So to make it easy on you, I'm going to walk you through the steps in Marketing Central so that you can find where that template is really easily when you go home. So first, when you go into Partner Central at the very top, just like I told you to go to find the Opportunity Management tool, you're going to see a button that says Marketing Central. When you go in there, it's going to ask you, what do you want to do in Marketing Central? There's a button, and it's hard to read, but it says New Lands and Campaign, something about campaigns there, okay? If you click on that one, you can easily get to this screen. And at the top, it's going to have a Campaigns button. And that's where you can click and be able to search for the type of campaign you're looking for. Now, a campaign is not just a case study. It's going to have templates to write white papers, solution briefs, all different types of things about a certain topic. What I suggest, if you're going in here to just simply get the case study template, is type in what type of opportunity that you closed that is going to be publicly referenceable. So what I did is I typed in IoT, okay? And when I went into the IoT, you'll see there's the email landing pages, there's the solution brief, there's the banner ads, all the different things that you could do to build your practice around that. But at the very bottom, there's a case study box. And that's where you can go and get a template to build a public reference that you can share with customers and the sales teams. Now, there's one other resource you have when it comes to writing public references. We have a whole team in APN that does this for our customers, okay? They fund it, they manage it, they publish it on behalf of you guys. So they're here to help you build these public references and make sure that they're of good quality and things that you can share and really showcase what you're good at. Now, in order to be able to utilize this team, you must go through your PDR, PDM, or your PSM. And if that's a role that I have not mentioned yet, that is a partner sales/success manager, depending on where you're located in the world. These are folks that actually work with our sales teams and help them identify you guys to come into the opportunities and help the customer. So that's another role that can help nominate this for you. And then lastly, if you're working with any of our segment leads or leaders that lead, like our migration team or IoT team in the partner area, they can also help you to nominate yourself for this team to help you make a case study. Now, something to note, in order to utilize this team, you must be an advanced or premier partner, okay? Or you must be on the line and it's something that you're trying to achieve really quickly, like a competency or service delivery, and you need one more reference in order to make that happen. They do accept some of those requests as well. So here's another motivating factor if you're a new partner to move up in the tiers, and if you're close to getting to one of these advanced or premier stages, it's a really good motivating factor to do so. Again, you guys, these public references are really the currency to our sales teams as well as our customers to understand what you guys are really good at. So before we wrap up today, I wanted to give you a really good example of one of those references that our APN reference team has created, and this one is in video format.
TrueCar is an online digital car buying marketplace. We aim to make car buying simple, fair, and fun. The challenges that we faced on our existing in-data center technology mostly had to do with the natural pace of business that any startup would face, scaling issues. You build an infrastructure that works for 10 people that are building something, and now all of a sudden you have 100 people that are building something.
You had people on my team that really had been working with the infrastructure for 10 years, fixing servers, pulling out hard drives, plugging in new ones. What we tried to do is think outside the box. How could we leverage technologies in the cloud to really service us? AWS has been an amazing experience. Every touch point we've had with them, they've listened to our concerns, got us in front of the right people inside AWS. We've talked to every product team, the folks that are doing all the underlying network infrastructure, all the VPC work, all the direct connect work, ELB work, you name it. We've actually been in front of their product people, talked to them, about the issues that we're having.
When we jumped into this project, I can say we didn't know what we were doing. We had people that had some experience with Amazon and AWS, people that were familiar with it, but nobody that really got it. We decided to partner with CorpInfo to really enhance and accelerate this transition. We had developers and engineers from CorpInfo in our office working side by side with our teams to help us learn and understand how to leverage the ecosystem and Amazon and really architecturally come up with the solutions that we've created. I think the partnership there has been one where they're an extension of our team at this point. We look at CorpInfo as part of the reason we've been able to get here. It probably would have taken us 2 to 3 times longer to do this had we not been able to just tap CorpInfo on the shoulder and be able to, leverage the knowledge and expertise that they had and apply that to our problem.
Some of the best practices that I wanted to point out in there so you could see a good example is who talked the whole time? The customer. And just so everyone knows, CorpInfo, if you're not familiar, is now Annika. They renamed themselves, so that was a little confusing, but that was the one that they had asked us to use. But it's really cool because a public reference should be from a customer. And the one thing that we all love about being part of AWS is how customer obsessed we are. And we love that our partners are just as customer obsessed as we are, and that really shows that there. So before we wrap up today, we're gonna leave you guys with some simple calls to action that you can do to get started in these programs, as well as make sure you're following the best practices that Kristen shared.
Okay, so we have 9 calls to action that hopefully you guys will be able to take, immediately apply, and continue to gain your momentum with your organization to differentiate who you are, with AWS Sales Teams, and then most importantly with our customers. So the first one, bookmark Partner Central. Again, this has a tremendous amount of assets and resources that Sarah was able to showcase some of the examples. We are continuously adding content to this. It is not a stagnant tool, and it is very rich with information for your organization. The second is leverage APN differentiation programs. So we have a number of differentiation programs. Some of the more obvious ones of competency programs, service delivery designations, but then we also have references, for example. And so make sure that you're really talking with your partner manager or the partner team that you're working with on what programs are in place or resources are in place to truly help to continue to build out your organization, specific to what your superpowers are. The third is develop AWS and customer-facing collateral. Again, make sure that you've got your consistent messaging, both internally with our organization and externally with our customers, so we can start to view our partners and their specific superpowers as a seamless extension of our sales team. The fourth is track your AWS business results. And I would say that in the field, this is really one that resonates with our teams of helping them to understand not only who you've engaged, but what has happened after that engagement, and to continue to communicate early and often with our teams.
And number 5 follows along with what I had just shared with you, but make sure to utilize that APN CSAT campaign and Marketing Central. If you don't want to utilize that campaign, the call to action here is to figure out how you're going to strategically ask your customers to fill those CSAT reviews out. It's something that can be as simple as an email or a follow-up, or if it's something you want to personally ask the actual customer to do, that's something to figure out. Number 6 is opportunity management tool. I think I've said it 40 million times in this presentation. Start submitting opportunities. You guys remember, this is the way you're going to get connected to the sales teams. They're going to understand what you're good at, and also it's going to contribute to your APN tier advancement and journey starting at the beginning of the year. Next is use those opportunities, join the differentiation programs, and start your journey to become ACE eligible. This is how you're going to be able to get leads and opportunities from AWS to help grow your business. Number 8 was all around the public references. Go into Marketing Central, look at the case studies to get an example of how you can start doing these. And then, if you meet those requirements, start talking to your partner managers around how you can work with our APN references team to create a video, maybe like Annika had, to show your customers when you go on site and have that conversation. And last but not least, we're here to help you guys. Please do not hesitate to leverage the AWS Partner Team. We are always here to answer any questions, to make sure that you are going down the right path, that you have the sales support that you need, and we're here to really be your partners, that's a way to put it, and be your right-hand man in everything, in every stage that you have. And we can't thank you enough for being so active in our partner sessions here at reInvent. And we hope that we have given you some clear calls to action and given you some clarity around how you can engage with AWS.
And the last piece before we let everybody go, and hopefully this is your last session of the day, is if you could please complete the session survey in your mobile app. It'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much for your partnership, and happy selling. We hope this was helpful.